Good evening, it's time for Glambition, and tonight we're discussing a topic that's close to every girl's heart, your wedding day. The day on which you feel the most beautiful. Now, whether you're having a huge, extravagant party, no expenses spared, or a small, private, intimate affair, the important thing is that your wedding day reflects who you are as a person. Now, tonight, for the first time ever, I'm going to give you a little insight into what my wedding day was like. When I started to plan our wedding, I knew that I was planning one of the most important days of our lives and that I wanted it to be perfect, as every young woman dreams of. We decided to have the ceremony, the reception, and the photographs all in one venue to make things easier and to make full use of the beautiful Camps Bay retreat, a hidden private nature reserve with an old manor house. My brother Heinrich was my man of honor and my mom my matron of honor. You spend a special time with them as you prepare to walk down the aisle. I'll never forget the look in my dad's eyes as he covered my face with a veil. I'll always be his little girl, but now I was becoming a wife, and that moment is forever etched in my mind. My dress was a gift from top Durban-based designer and friend Gideon, a beautiful dress that he had crafted with love, and it made me feel very special. We only had 30 guests and had a chance to spend quality time with them. This was also a hard decision to make, though, as we had to leave many friends and family off the list. But in hindsight, it was also a good decision, as it gave my husband and I some time to also enjoy each other's company on the day. After all, this was our first day as Mr. and Mrs. Joining me now in studio, we have Melanie Bala, who is arguably one of South Africa's most recognizable faces. And Mel, after 10 years, Zwei walked you down the aisle.
Yes, he did. It was really a time when we both felt we were ready and it was the perfect time to do it. So we literally planned it in 2 months and we got married.
Well, so how many guests exactly did you have at your wedding?
We went with 175 people, and we're both from big families, Zwei and I, and we love our families, we love spending time with them, so there was no one we could leave off the list. And then close friends, and we really just wanted to have a nice party.
When it came to planning the wedding, you said you did it in 2 months. Was Zwei very helpful? Because generally men stay away. I mean, my husband said all he had to do was organize the weather, so...
Oh, wow. Okay, that's huge, though. No, he wasn't very hands-on, and like I say, I think because we'd been together a long time, I was okay with it. I wasn't, you have to attend every meeting and you have to attend this. He attended what he could, but otherwise, he was like, I trust you. You know what you're doing, put it together, it's all good.
Don't you find in society these days, weddings almost become about other people? And it's almost, you find that people spend more time planning the wedding than they do the actual marriage, which is the important part.
Which is the long-term part, supposedly. Yes, absolutely. I think there is a focus on the day. You've got to get the day right, and the day has to do this. Which comes back to what I was saying about, I really wanted it to be about the union and knowing that going forward we weren't going to be broke because we'd spent all our money on the day. So I do think sometimes there needs to be a kind of a reshift or a refocus, but it's hard because there's pressure as well from whether it's your mom or your mom-in-law, whoever else who wants what they think should be your wedding.
Now, in studio, we're now going to have Nicole Allen, who runs a beautiful magazine called Wedding Inspirations, and she knows quite a bit on the subject. Lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Hi, Nicole.
You must know the entire industry off by heart. I mean, why are weddings so expensive, firstly?
Because there are so many different elements to a wedding. None of them are essential, really, but there's the food and the decor and the venue and the photographer and the dress and the suit and all of it adds up.
How does one actually go about saving costs on weddings, then?
The mistake that couples make, because so many people don't understand how expensive weddings actually are, until they start planning their own, is you have to go into it knowing exactly how much money you have to spend, and you have to decide, you have to agree to stick to it. And then you need to prioritize. So you decide what elements of the wedding are more important to you. Do you want your guests to be well fed, Or would you rather, you know, do you
I think for Mel and I
prioritize-
both, that's like...
I know, food, hands down.
Yeah.
And it's what your guests remember. They will remember if they went home hungry. Totally.
If they stopped at Mickey
Yeah,
D's.
exactly on the way home. How disappointing. That's exactly what they'll remember. So I think you need to prioritize the elements, decide what's more important to you. You know, do you really want beautiful wedding photos and fabulous food? Do you need your entire venue to be filled with fresh flowers? And then allocate your spend accordingly. There are lots of ways to save. You know, once you've decided what's important, you can cut back on the things that are not. You can still have them, just maybe not in abundance.
What is important for the guys, they usually plan the honeymoon, right?
Yes.
What did Zwei do for the honeymoon?
We went to Mozambique for a couple of days, which was fabulous because we'd both never been. So I think that's always fun because you're kind of exploring together. But I got horrible sort of food poisoning day one.
No.
Yes. So I was flat on my back for 2 days, just like awful. But after that, it was fantastic.
But there was a chance for you to also see how nurturing your husband is.
Yes. Go get a little test.
And with you also, that you also help to plan honeymoons.
We do. We cover honeymoons quite a lot. It's the same as with the wedding. The guys have quite strong opinions. So you'll find like your modern groom doesn't necessarily want to hand over all of the decision-making to the bride. And brides also don't necessarily want their honeymoons to be a surprise. They kind of do, but they don't, because what if he chooses somewhere that he thinks is fabulous and actually you don't, and he's booked it and then you're stuck? Honeymoons can also obviously be hugely expensive. They can also be time-consuming. You're so exhausted after your wedding and you actually just want time to regroup and go and talk
I packed
about
like a zombie. I really did. Like after the wedding to pack for the honeymoon, it was like, oh. And when I got to Mozambique, I was like, what did I throw in here? Because I was exhausted.
Before. The tip is to pack before. But there's also a trend towards something called mini-moons, which are short 3 to 5 day honeymoons. They tend to be local or neighbouring country because your time is really restricted. But it's become quite a popular trend for couples who maybe don't want to use all of their annual leave. We don't get that much. You don't want to use it all on your honeymoon, or you've taken time off before the wedding to be with guests who've maybe travelled far. And also you've blown a lot of money on your big day and you might not have that much left over.
A mini moon, I think that's a term I'm going to remember.
I like it.
It's lovely and it's on trend. So,
Absolutely, we always want to be fashionable.
yeah, it's on trend.
It's time for our little mini break, so we'll see you right after this for more Glambition. We're continuing the conversation about weddings right here on Glambition, and with me in studio we have Tamisho Masha, top actor, but I'm more interested in his gorgeous, gorgeous wife. Zozi, you have been married today for 3 years, and this is what he does for your anniversary. He brings you on a talk show.
Yeah, I wasn't too impressed with that, I have to tell you. But when he said it's Glambition with you, I thought, okay, Joe, she's sweet. I think I'd like to do that. And of course, I mean, it's our anniversary, so celebrating our marriage, whatever way, but to talk about it on a show that's, talking about marriages. And we're very happy to be married 3 years today.
Now, let's take us back to the wedding. Take your minds back 3 years ago.
What wedding, Joe?
What wedding? Because exactly, you haven't had the white wedding yet.
We haven't had the white wedding, but we've had a wedding.
How was the traditional wedding then?
It was grand. I mean, we love meat. We love to celebrate. Also, people will do anything to have a celebration. I'm not going to say a party. So it was really, really grand. I think my mom outdid herself. And then the following day, of course, we were supposed to do a signing ceremony. It was just supposed to be family. So there was literally, 30 people in the small church.
Did you have a wedding planner then for your traditional wedding, or how did you actually go about putting it all together?
My mom and I fought through it, with my aunts calling me day in, day out. And it was by remote control, because I got there 3 days before the wedding, and everything was pretty much done. But she's used to doing catering and stuff like that. That's how she survives in a small town. So it was kind of not rocket science, but it was very stressful, I can tell you that much.
And also, I mean, it's a community thing. I think the whole community gets together when it comes to the family. The family comes in and says, we will do this. We'll go get the veggies and we'll chop them. The men will organize sorting out, the meat and that sort of thing, and the booze for the wedding. And that's how we really did it. And then we had, of course, a return leg, because you have to have a return leg. There's a home and away game. And we had to have one in Pretoria where we welcomed the bride. So we had a whole other do there as well, with a whole bunch of other people as well there.
I need to ask, you're a very modern couple. Did you pay lobola?
Did I pay lobola? Man, that was like maybe a year's worth of wages.
It was for a good cause. No.
Well,
He's being
worth it.
dramatic.
Well worth it, I must say, well worth it.
Now, also, when you're thinking about your perfect white wedding, just describe that so that he's taking notes now, knows exactly what budget we're working with.
We thought of having it in Boss and John's because I'm from the Eastern Cape and it's beautiful there. But then Sandy Wedding is just not...
And also logistically getting, because, it's getting everything there, the marquees, the catering, you have to drive it down. So we kind of thought maybe let's do something where they are more used to having weddings, but somewhere coastal. And I mean, Cape Town is a beautiful place.
Winelands, come my way. I'll help to organize.
Yeah, and the nice thing about the Winelands is that you have to fly there, then you have to hire a car and drive to the Winelands. So
that cuts out about half of the relatives.
If you really want to be there, you'll make a plan.
And then on the third day, I want like a high tea. I don't know, just to say goodbye to everyone. Weddings are, you see people that you never really get to spend time with. That's when you get to spend time with your favorite cousin, who you haven't seen forever because they live somewhere else, US, wherever they live. And it's a time to be together. It's not really just, yes, it is my day, and I want to celebrate it with the people I love, but it's really about bringing them all together. So I want at least 3 days, everyone there.
Noted, got it. We have started working on the budget.
It's a big budget, honey.
Well, okay, I have the perfect place in mind for you to get married. It is one of the most romantic places on earth, and if you do have a limitless budget, this is how you want to do it.
Paris is magical. It's definitely the city where any couple would love to get married. People dream of getting married here because all the components are here together to make the perfect day, really the most beautiful day.
Weddings at the George Sink, it's an experience because your guests are just like, it's like sensory overload. You know, with our amazing chef, Eric, and Eric Beaumard with the wines, it's just that whole effect of creating that wow factor.
He's very, very, very talented. We're so lucky to have him here.
The whole reasoning behind the whole term, the rock and roll florist, is because we think out of the box. We created a revolution, the last 8 to 10 years in the way people think about flowers. We're so in your face and we're doing things that push the limits. So it's kind of like a painter. You buy your canvas, you have your paints, and then you just kind of go with what the feeling is at the moment. And that's why, when people walk into the lobby of this hotel, it's that whole wow, kind of drop to your knees, what's going on here? It's because it's different.
This is the penthouse suite, actually, and it has absolutely breathtaking views over Paris, the rooftops of Paris, and the Eiffel Tower. Very romantic. That's why couples love booking the suite for their honeymoon. It's not just about delivering what's on the menu. It's about getting to know the client, the bride and groom, very, very well. That's the magic also of being an international brand, is being able to accommodate any type of request from any culture, any religion. And that's what makes it very interesting, because Four Seasons is really, really caring about bringing cultures and people together, because you know that the staff are going to bend over backwards to make it happen.
For brides that don't have a lot of money, we use a lot of baby's breath, gypsophilia, because that really fills the space and it's less amount of money. It's finding a flower that's less expensive, that you can buy a lot more of. And it's really about working with your budget, I always want to create something that I would like to be married in, or a dinner that I would actually love to sit at the table and be a guest at. That's a good test for me. If I create something I actually think like, I wouldn't want to be a guest at that wedding or a guest at that party, then maybe that's something I don't want to be a part of.
So, Tamisha, are you taking notes? Is this... I mean, she deserves that. 27,000 euros for one night in the honeymoon suite.
I'm working on a tender in Limpopo, so I think we can make it happen. Like, give me a year or so, just delivering books. That's all I need to do. And that's like, we can be there the whole year.
I'm not even going down that road. Tender Limpopo, no, I'm not making any comments. I reserve all my comments for that.
But as you just told me also, you actually, when you met, you employed him.
Yes.
So he knows where he stands in the relationship, right?
I'm boss.
You're not the boss of me. You're not the boss of me.
Baby, you've been through this. Don't embarrass yourself in company. I'm the boss.
Tamisha and Zosi, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back after the break with more Wedded Bliss. Welcome back to Glambition, where we're discussing wonderful weddings and also the sometimes difficult parts of weddings with Salamina Mosese, top actress, and Leanne Lamini, a musical songstress of note.
Nice intro.
I know, very nice. Thank you.
Ladies, tell me, both married for quite a while now. What were your weddings like? Salamina, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, we are married 5 years in September. The wedding, it was nothing like I had expected and nothing like I had planned. I mean, we ended up having something like 200 gate crashes, and that is any bride's worst nightmare.
Just gate crashes, 200?
Yeah.
So total?
Total 400. My parents went completely overboard. The wedding was not our own. I just had to make peace with the fact that I get to take the groom home. Everything else,
Let them have it.
Did you have this kind of drama?
Oh,
Because you had a smaller wedding.
Yes, mine was much smaller. Definitely not 400 guests.
Plus 200
I
gate
know,
crashes.
I know. Our wedding was beautiful. It was exactly what I had imagined. I was not the little girl that was planning her wedding, going through magazines, but I knew that I wanted something beautiful when it happened eventually. It didn't take us very long to plan our wedding either. We got engaged in April, and by December we were married. But because there was so much happening in our lives as well, we just kind of needed to do it and then move on.
He proposed on the top of the Eiffel Tower.
Yes, he did.
In Paris.
Yes, he did.
Capital of romance. He scored some serious points.
I know, he's very romantic, my husband. He will go all out just to make me happy, and that was super special. And the fact that we had my parents there with us as well, because he knows that I'm such a family person and I love my family.
Your parents were in Paris with you at the time?
Yes, they were.
That's
We had
beautiful.
gone to visit Sipa's family in London, because that's where they're based. And that was kind of like where everyone met as well, my family and his. So we did all of that in London, and they kind of just came along with us to Paris. So just having them there as well was beautiful for us.
That is stunning.
That must be the most nerve-wracking thing about weddings as well, though. Do the families get along? I mean, with my family, my parents don't speak German and my husband's parents don't speak English.
Oh, no.
So at least there can't be any fights because they don't understand each other. Did you have any sort of interesting family elements to see if everybody...
Look, everybody gets along very well. I think what was a reality, well, more like a shock to the system for me, was the traditional stuff that happens. It's almost like they want to scare the bride into not getting married. I just didn't understand it. It's quite daunting. It's quite intimidating. I mean, I remember the day after we get married, they take me to the groom's home. So, and that's when they officially take the makoti to her new place. And you sit on the carpet in the corner of a room and there's just grannies sitting around you and they're all staring at you. And everyone is discussing you, but they're not talking to you. It was really intimidating. I remember my husband afterwards was like, I'm really sorry that I put you through this.
The great thing about South Africa is most brides who decide to have a traditional wedding also have a white wedding, but many people don't know exactly how much effort goes into planning the logistics of a huge township wedding.
Find that everyone in the family wants to be part of the whole thing. Everyone wants to say, well, I did that. I came up with that idea. It makes my life difficult because I deal with the client who is the groom or the bride, and they tell me what they want. And then I'll have to now try and not be rude and not push them away because, I mean, they are family. And I have to now try and accommodate what they want to bring into the whole thing to what the client wanted. So it's quite, politics are huge. Making a bride and a groom happy, that is what is of importance for me because that day only comes once and it's always good to make it as close to perfect as you can. And that thank you for me, it really makes me go, job well done, Maui. You have to be comfortable with your wedding planner. When you plan a wedding, look for somebody whom you are comfortable with. Look for somebody whom you can call at any time of the night and don't feel bad about it and don't feel like you are troubling that person. Look for somebody whom you will click with. It is important to have a very open line type of a communication with your wedding planner, because that's the person that's literally going to make or break your day. Mainly, the most important thing of all of this is your budget. Sit down with a planner and ask how much can you get with whatever budget that you have. I always advise my clients to not go anything above the 30% of the budget. You also have to enjoy what you're doing. I mean, when you plan your wedding, you're only planning it once.
Everything was on point, it was spot on. We are happy with everything that she's done for us. She made our day.
Weddings, the stuff dreams are made of. Now, quite interesting to see that compared to the Georges V in Paris.
Exactly.
Honeymoons, what did the guys do for honeymoons?
We were lucky. We had sort of a pre-honeymoon because we were both working, so we couldn't take a mini moon.
Yes.
And my parents got that for us, which was nice. We just went to Golden Gate, blah, blah, blah. And after that, when we were both off the shooting commitments that we had at the time, then we went to Zanzibar. And it was beautiful.
Just
still by far the
Zanzi.
best holiday we've taken.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say my honeymoon is the best holiday we've taken as well. We went to the Maldives and it was just perfect to just de-stress, lie on the beach all day and get over what's just happened, you know, because it is so crazy. You really do need that time after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You two have got my appetite going now again for an island holiday. Zanzibar, the Maldives.
I know.
On that very dreamy note, we're going to say goodnight to you from Glambition and see you again next week.